Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Now Showing here on the Daily Fix. As you guys know, my name is JC, and this is the show where I go when I see a brand new movie hot off the press, and I review it for you guys and let you know what I thought. This week I went and saw the new movie Xmen: Days of Future Past, starring Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, James McAvoy. Basically, if you were ever once in an X-Men movie, you are in this movie. Actually, no, I take that back, because you did not see Liev Schreiber from X-Men Origins at all in there, who played Sabretooth. They brought back a whole bunch of actors for this film from the old films, even just in little cameos, little tiny snippets that you see and you're like, hey, look at that guy. That's who we see in this film. Before I give you guys my quickie review of this film, I gotta be honest with you. I gotta come forward. I feel like I need to make a confession to you guys, and that is I was never a huge fan of the movies of X-Men. I was never a huge X-Men fan. Like, I would watch the cartoon as a kid, but I was never huge into it. I will say my favorite X-Men is Nightcrawler, and so that's why the second movie is probably one of my favorites, just because he's in it. But he's always been my favorite X-Men, and it's sad to see that he's not in more of the films. I want more Nightcrawler. That in mind, take what I say here, understanding that I don't know all the lore, I don't know all the backstory, but I do enjoy the films. But I'm just not, like, out of the grand scheme of comic book movies, X-Men isn't my favorite category, isn't my favorite family, if you will. That being said, I really enjoyed this movie. It kept me guessing throughout it and not really sure where it was going, what was going to happen, what was going to play out. You were able to piece together little things here and there. But I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know who some of the newer characters were, but that's okay. Sometimes you don't need to know everybody. I thought it was really up there with Wolverine. It was probably the best X-Men movie that's come out since the very first one. So the best X-Men movie to come out, is how that should be worded. I think it's just right above Wolverine. There's things in this film that I really liked that Wolverine kind of was downside, but they're on, I think they were 1 and 2 in all of the different categories throughout since the beginning of the X-Men movie franchise. I feel like all the actors in this film did an amazing job, but for the most part, we knew all the actors. We knew that they were able to play their roles with skill and intensity and greatness. So that was no big surprise. I'm gonna look at the actors the same way that I looked at the actors in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you want to check out that review, you can just click on my Amazing Spider-Man poster right here, and that should bring that up for you, my review of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But so, that being said, like, we know James McAvoy can do a good job. We know Hugh Jackman is the best Wolverine in the history of Wolverines. But I want to look at some of the newer characters, some of the newer actors into the franchise. Which there weren't that many in this film. Like I just said, there was a lot of recurring roles. There wasn't a whole lot of new characters or a whole lot of depth or anything to be portrayed in that. The first actor I want to look at is Peter Dinklage, who played Dr. Bolivar Trask. I felt like he did an amazing job in this film. He did so well with commanding the screen and being that villain that he was, and being like this little evil package. And I definitely think, and I really hope that he starts getting a lot more roles in Hollywood, because he's such a great actor. And I think that, I mean, he's been in a lot of really great films in the past, and now with Game of Thrones, that people are really, I think, are starting to really see how of a great caliber this guy is. And so I hope that we start seeing him more. I felt like he played that role really well. So yeah, I really hope that he does, that he gets more roles, and that we start seeing him in bigger roles. Can I say that? And then we have Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the film. I know there was a lot of scrutiny about when they first released the image of how Quicksilver was going to look. And, you know, who he looked kind of weird. I'm not going to lie, kind of odd. But then we find out that he's character, we see him back in the 70s. So maybe that makes more sense. Maybe that makes more sense for who he is as like a teenage Quicksilver, as opposed to like a full adult, more streamlined kind of guy. But I really enjoyed him on the screen. I thought he was funny. I would have liked to have seen more of him. I would like to have seen more of Quicksilver. I don't know where he was while everything was going down, while the proverbial poop was hitting the fan, as they say. But yeah, but he was really good. I really enjoyed him. But we didn't see a whole lot of him, which I was kind of bummed about. That being said, those were the only like real main actors. There was a bunch of new X-Men, New Mutants that we saw that I didn't know who they were, and they didn't really kind of give us any backstory about them. There was a girl who threw portals that you could travel through. There was a guy who like could absorb energy and then release it, and as like it empowered a gun and stuff. And then there was a guy who had knives. I really don't know what his power was, except maybe he could just see really far away. He could look out there in space and he could see what was coming. But that was it. That's all I really knew. I enjoyed the premise, the plot. You always have to worry about plot and how it's going to affect when you talk about time travel, and then the interwebbing of it all was really good. Jennifer Lawrence was amazing, but the film was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where they go next. I'm excited to see what they have in store. They're not a spoiler, but there is a clip at the very end of the credits. At the very end of the credits, there is a clip. The 3D in the film was really good. They actually gave you like white or gray glasses that say X-Men Days of Future Past. The 3D was good. Wasn't great. I look at Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the 3D in that was amazing and phenomenal. They used it so well. It was good. There wasn't anything like, oh man, this is the best 3D ever. Avatar, what? But it was good. I wouldn't say you have to see it in 3D. Amazing Spider-Man 2, go see it in 3D. You're hurting yourself if you don't. This 3D is not 100% necessary in my book. But that's me. Before I give this film my final grade, I'll say this. There wasn't anything incredibly bad about the film. There wasn't anything that really hurt it or brought it down. There was no like acting that was like, oh man, this sucked. But there wasn't anything on the other hand that man, this movie just blew my mind. It was so good. Oh man. So I'm not really super duper excited about it. So yeah, there was nothing that blew it away. There was nothing that blew my mind away. So there was nothing that sank it. There was nothing that was like, man, this is the worst. How could they do that? Like in X-Men Origins. And there was nothing that really kind of blew my mind. And it was like, man, like at the end of Wolverine, when we see the clip when the time freezes at the airport, and then it's like, Days of Future Past is, what? That's in the same thing? Like, that blew your mind, and that got you so excited for this film. I felt like for me there was nothing with this film that really set that up for me. There was nothing that really blew my mind away wide open for that at all. So that's that. So my final grade for X-Men Days of Future Past, I'm going to give it a B-. Just because it was good. It was better than the average, so it was better than a C or a C+. But it wasn't like this was the best movie of the summer. If you want, I'm not even saying you have to go see this movie. If you don't like superhero movies, if you don't like X-Men, you don't even have to go see this. There's plenty of good films out. That's it for this week here on Now Showing on the Daily Fix. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter at Daily Fix Show. Check out our WordPress, dailyfixshow.com. xmen.wordpress.com. You can follow me on Twitter. And, just hit us up. Leave us a comment down below. Let me ask this. Who's your favorite X-Men character? Is it Wolverine? Is it Gambit? They're talking about making a Gambit movie. Which I say bring back Taylor Kitsch because he was awesome. The only good thing about X-Men Origins was Taylor Kitsch's Gambit. If you agree with my grade, with the review of a B-, if you disagree, let's hear about it. Let's get into an argument on the internet. And I will probably back down from that fight because I don't want you to hurt my feelings. But that's it for this week again. I love you guys. Keep it real. Deuces.